Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in your corner of the world. I was asked in private messaging on my thoughts on IBM. Did I think it would really have a chance to succeed? Would it be a good asset in the future? My thoughts on any kind of connection to Ripple, and basically why I thought it was going to be a massive project long term, as there was not a lot of information on it. And there is a reason for that. So tonight on this video, basically that is where the video begins. This is my response to that, and you know who you are when you see this video. This one is for you. All right, let's get right in on it. The IBM announces major blockchain solution to speed global payments. And I do have to go back just so you're aware. This is from 2017, and there's a reason the information will be scattered. Specific with Stellar, as it is labeled the invisible currency. And there's a reason for that as you learn and you follow this channel. All right, getting right into this article, at the time of the article, IBM announced a new blockchain banking solution that will help financial institutions address the processes of universal cross-border payments, designed to reduce the settlement time and lower the cost of completing global payments for businesses and consumers, using the IBM blockchain, and in collaboration with technology partners, Stellar.org and ClickX Group. This solution is intended to improve the speed in which banks both clear and settle payments transactions on a single network in near real time. Also, too, remembering that IBM is partnered with 97% of all major banks. Back into the article today. Making international payments can be costly, laborious, and error-prone. Transactions in different currencies can require multiple intermediaries and take days or weeks to complete. According to the World Bank, initiatives to modernize payments and provide financial access could improve the flow of currency and commerce and help achieve the goal of extending financial services to 1 billion people by the year 2020. So that's current. They figured in 3 years they would have financial services to 1 billion people as of this year. I don't know about you, but 1 billion people is pretty massive for me. The solution is already processing live transactions in 12 currency corridors across the Pacific Islands and Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Using a blockchain distributed ledger, all appropriate parties have access and insight into the clearing and settlement of financial transactions. It is designed to augment financial flows worldwide for all payment types and values, and allows financial institutions to choose the settlement network of their choice for the exchange of central bank issued digital assets. And obviously there's so much more. I have files and files on this. But even though this video is long, I'm going to try and keep it as brief as I can, and know that I have left off tons of articles to shorten it to what it is. And that's basically on every video. For example, in the future, the new IBM network could make it possible for a farmer in Samoa to enter a trade contract with a buyer in Indonesia. The blockchain would be used to record the terms of the contract, manage trade documentation, allow the farmer to put up collateral, obtain letters of credit, and finalize transaction terms with immediate payment, and also conducting global trade with transparency and relative ease. IBM has convened an initial group of diverse banking leaders as part of the development and deployment process, including Banco Bilbao, Vizcaya Argentaria, Bank Danamon, Indonesia, Bank Mandiri, Bank Negara Indonesia, Bank Permata, Bank Rakyat Indonesia, and Kasich Korn Bank Thailand, Mizuho Financial Group, National Australia Bank, Rizal Commercial Banking Corp RCBC, the Philippines, Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group, TD Bank, Withdraw HK of WorldCom Finance, and other financial institutions. With the guidance of some of the world's leading financial institutions, IBM is working to explore new ways to make payments networks more efficient and transparent so that banking can happen in real time, even in the most remote parts of the world, said Bridget Van Kralingen, Senior Vice President of IBM Industry Platforms. Making distributed ledger technologies more interoperable is the latest example of IBM's leadership driving the rapid advancement of blockchain. And my apologies for totally destroying that name if you're listening. TD Bank is pleased to participate along the fellow banking leaders to observe how IBM blockchain can support more secure and effective payment solutions, said Rizwan Khalfan, the EVP and Chief Digital and Payments Officer at TD Bank. We're focused on innovation that adds value for our customers and our business, and blockchain presents a tremendous opportunity to transform and enhance payment systems, enabling us to continue to evolve the products and services we can offer. In keeping with IBM's commitment to open source, the solution is run from the IBM blockchain platform on Hyperledger Fabric and was built in collaboration with Stellar.org. So again, here we wanted to highlight that Hyperledger is connected to Stellar and specifically the Hyperledger Fabric. A nonprofit organization and associate member of Hyperledger and ClickX Group, a regional financial services company in the Pacific region. So again, not only is it like partnered up and connected, Stellar is an associate member of Hyperledger, the total. So that's a pretty big deal. Stellar is an open source blockchain network that is purpose-built for the issuance and exchange of digital assets. Digital assets are issued on the Stellar network as a foreign exchange bridge to allow for near real-time settlement. ClickX Group serves as the founding financial institution for the region, servicing banks, retail clients, and consumers using this new network. IBM will continue to advance the solution with the goal of expanding capabilities in order to support central bank issued digital currencies. Those are also CBDCs, which IBM, you can see again, has been working with all of the central banks for over 3 years doing CBDCs. So IBM blockchain provides high performance orchestration to move payments among parties, and each payment is immutable once recorded, and settlement instructions are provided via smart contracts on Hyperledger Fabric. Initially, Stellar will provide the network and digital asset to facilitate the settlement of transactions cleared on Hyperledger. This new innovation and collaboration represents a significant milestone for Stellar, as well as the financial technology industry as a whole, said Jed McCaleb, the co-founder of Stellar. We are using blockchain technology in production to facilitate cross-border payments in multiple integrated currency corridors. Currently, cross-border payments tend to make up several days to clear, and this new implementation is poised to start a profound change in the South Pacific nations. And once fully scaled by IBM and its banking partners, it could potentially change the way money is moved around the world, helping to improve existing international transactions and advancing financial inclusion in developing nations. The network is currently in use by Advanced Pacific Financial Infrastructure for Inclusion, the APFII. Those members are, and also a public-private partnership initially funded by the United Nations and SWIFT. So you can see that's another thing, as we've discussed before, Swift is already connected to Stellar in a roundabout way. So you can see, again, if we state something, we've already showed it, or we're going to show more of it, and we always will state what we have the facts of in our videos, and we will show you and try to minimize our opinion unless it is 100% backed by the content that we are providing. It is expected to process up to 60% of all cross-border payments in the South Pacific's retail foreign exchange corridors, including Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga by early next year. Commercial banks such as Banco Bilbao, Vizcaya, Argentina, Bank Danamon, Indonesia, Bank Mandiri, Bank Negara, Indonesia, Bank Permata, Bank Rakyat, Indonesia, Kazakh Korni Bank, Thailand Mizuho Financial Group, National Australia Bank, Rizal Commercial Banking Corp, the RCBC Philippines, Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group, TD Bank, and Wisdrock HK of WorldCom Finance will be invited to join the network and help it expand in different parts of the world, beginning 2018. This is the first time anyone has made blockchain work at an institutionally viable scale, said Robert Bell, the chairman of APFII and the founder of ClickX Group. Through ClickX, the Pacific has had relatively low-cost, real-time multi-currency payments for most of the past decade, and this project was a natural step following our work to create seamless and borderless payments across the Pacific. We look forward to the results with using IBM blockchain as we continue to push forward with our mission to remove payment friction across borders. This production blockchain network with ClickX and Stellar is one of the many blockchain projects underway by IBM in financial services, including foreign exchange payments, netting, private equity administration, securities lending, and trade finance. And again, just to call out attention, as we discussed Swift and a few other articles in here with Hyperledger, we are directly on the IBM website on their page. So just so you can be aware of that and know the credibility of our content in this discussion. IBM is the leader in open source blockchain solutions built for the enterprise as an early member of Hyperledger, an open source collaborative effort created to advance cross-industry blockchain technologies. And IBM is dedicated to supporting the development of openly governed blockchains. IBM has worked with more than 400 clients across financial services, supply chains, IoT, risk management, digital rights management, and healthcare to implement blockchain applications. For more information, connect them there if you're interested. Here's a little about ClickX and a little about Stellar. Here we have on the Hyperledger a little article on their page, or a little section, just Stellar Development Foundation, Stellar, right on Hyperledger. On this article, we have IBM launches a blockchain-based global payments network using Stellar's cryptocurrency. And we're going to go down into this a little bit. There's a section I want to just bring out here. IBM Blockchain World Wire will help financial institutions improve the services they deliver to their consumers by optimizing and accelerating foreign exchange, cross-border payments, and remittances using the Stellar protocol. World Wire serves as a network provider for international payments, enabling point-to-point money transfer in lieu of the complexities of conventional correspondent banking. While IBM announced an initial pilot of World Wire in October of 2017, today the network is officially accessible in a growing number of markets. And stated, we've created a new type of payment network designed to accelerate remittances and transform cross-border payments to facilitate the movement of money in countries that need it most, said Marie Week, the general manager of IBM Blockchain. By creating a network where financial institutions support multiple digital assets, we expect to spur innovation and improve financial inclusion worldwide. and according to IBM World Wire, is the first blockchain network of its kind to integrate payment messaging, clearing, and settlement on a single unified platform. Participants are also allowed to dynamically choose from a variety of digital assets for settlement. Currently, World Wire has enabled payment locations in 72 countries with 48 currencies and 44 backing endpoints. The World Wire network currently supports settlement using Stellar Lumens and a US dollar stablecoin through IBM's previously announced collaboration with Stronghold. And if you do follow this channel, you've heard us discuss Stronghold being a USD-backed digital currency running on Stellar, the Stellar platform. Personally, I think cryptocurrencies could very well serve as a viable settlement instrument, and we've started with Lumens, which is the native asset of the Stellar network, but we already have the capacity to introduce other cryptocurrencies that could include Bitcoin or Ether, and we will add more digital assets based on client demand and participants on the network, said Lund. See if I wanted to include anything else off this site. I think that's really it. We can move on from there. The rest just kind of repeats what we've discussed in the previous long article. This article discusses Visa-backed blockchain firm embraces Stellar cryptocurrency via merger. The for-profit subsidiary of the Stellar Development Foundation has purchased Chain, a venture-backed blockchain startup with some of the biggest names in enterprise adoption among its customers. As part of the all-cash deal for an undisclosed amount, San Francisco-based Chain's existing investors, including Visa, NASDAQ, and Citi Ventures, will all receive a return on their investment, according to Chain co-founder Adam Ludwin. I do want to add one more part here. All of the clients that we have now have effectively shifted from a traditional database model to using a tokens model, issuing assets on a local environment, said Ludwin, who is the CEO of the newly formed Interstellar. By partnering with Stellar, you can fire an asset to another institution. Formerly, the acquisition is being made by the for-profit branch of the Stellar Development Foundation called Lightyear. The Chain and Lightyear brands will both be retired as a result of the deal. At launch, Interstellar will employ 60 people with headquarters in San Francisco and offices in New York. So you can see right there, there was all underneath the Stellar brand why it's so difficult to find news. You had Stellar, Chain, Lightyear, and Interstellar. I mean, just to name a few that are all still acquired and part of Stellar, although it stated that 2 of those would retire. But you can see why it makes it challenging for anyone who's looking for Stellar. The invisible currency, you're not going to find it, and there's a reason. It'll start making more and more sense as we finish this video. As part of the deal, Chain's existing enterprise customers using its Chain core software for permissioned blockchain, including Visa, NASDAQ, and Citigroup, will now be served by Interstellar. And remember, Interstellar is acquired, it is owned and part of Stellar. You have Stellar, the nonprofit. The profit side of Stellar is Interstellar. Fintech customers CloudWalk and LPS, a French insurance company which use Chain's Sequence cloud storage services, will also move to Interstellar. Ludwin compares the permission blockchain environments running to Chain's existing clients as a layer that will sit on top of the public blockchain platform created by Stellar and powered by the Lumen cryptocurrency. A trading service expected to launch soon called Stellar X for crypto assets created on the Stellar blockchain. It will also move under the Interstellar umbrella. And last year, Visa announced it had launched the first phase of a B2B payments network powered by Chain and NASDAQ, and Citi revealed a separate joint project for cross-border payments using Chain. While Ludwin later said he had 6 similar networks in various stages of development, he has now described a number of obstacles preventing further growth. And you can see those are now running on Stellar. The merger points to the larger concern in the blockchain space of how permissioned networks can interoperate with other platforms. While the U.S. Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation built its soon-to-be-launched blockchain platform to interoperate with the public Ethereum blockchain, the Chain merger shows another possible path forward. Chain's team has led the market for enterprise adoption of blockchain technology, said McCaleb in a statement, which is a critical component of building a future where money and digital assets move over open protocols. And we've discussed in video as well, if you've seen it and follow us, how Stellar and Ripple also are the distributed ledger technology. They're on the DTCCs. They're on the ISO 20022, and they're also part of the clearinghouse. They're pretty much everywhere you look, you're going to find them together. And just to connect that statement directly to this article, although Visa is connected and working with Stellar, we know that it acquired Earthport, which runs on Ripple. Just another to reinforce the statement from the previous article. Interstellar arrives, Citi, Visa, Chain acquired by Stellar startup, and now they're working together. And here we have Visa unveils its payments network powered by Hyperledger Fabric blockchain framework. To keep the video as short as possible, we've gone through this, how Hyperledger Fabric is Stellar. Visa now connects to Stellar. Stellar is also an associate partner of Hyperledger. Not sure if we got into this, but I did want to reiterate the Stellar.org is a Silicon Valley-based nonprofit organization that supports the Stellar Network, a free open-source network that connects diverse financial systems and let anyone build low-cost financial services, payments, savings, loans, insurance for their community. The Stellar Network enables money to move directly between people, companies, and financial institutions as easily as mail. This interconnectivity means more access for individuals, lower cost for banks, and more revenue for businesses. In keeping with IBM's commitment to open source, the solution is run from the IBM blockchain platform on Hyperledger Fabric and was built in collaboration with Stellar.org, a nonprofit organization and associate member of Hyperledger, and ClickX Group, a regional financial services company in the Pacific region. Stellar is an open-source blockchain network that is purpose-built for the issuance and exchange of digital assets. Digital assets are issued on the Stellar Network as a foreign exchange bridge to allow for near real-time settlement. ClickX Group serves as the founding financial institution for the region, servicing banks, retail clients, and consumers using this new network. And here we have SDF. If you know, that's an abbreviation for the Stellar Development Foundation. This is Stellar, and here is their currency logo. The SDF partners with the Blockchain Association. And as we get down into this article, we have the Stellar Development Foundation is driven by the idea that blockchain technology is the way forward. Keeping in mind, SDF is going to use this technology to provide equitable access to the global financial system. They believe the current implemented financial system is getting old. And we've heard from U.S. President Donald Trump state over and over and again, this 40-year-old antiquated system. Sounds like he's echoing the words of Brad Garlinghouse the 40-year-old antiquated system, as we have shared on our Twitter homepage. They believe that the current implemented financial system is getting old, being deployed decades ago. The financial system is unable to reflect the requirements of the consumers, and it doesn't take advantage of the technology that offers a more equitable system, making it easier, faster, and more reliable when it comes to global transactions. The SDF believes that blockchain could make the system a lot better, and I would agree. It could provide a greater trust in the institutions and give power to the customers. Acknowledging this fact, that SDF has launched Stellar, which is a global public blockchain that is connecting today's financial infrastructure in such a way that it provides greater financial access and inclusion, and thereby unlocking the world's economic potential. No need to keep going any further, as we know that they are now joining and part of the Blockchain Association. I wanted to share this. Coinbase and Ripple execs co-chair new market integrity working group for the United States Blockchain Association. Now let's get into this article a little bit. Here we have the senior director at Coinbase, Rachel Nelson, and at Ripple we have Brianne Madigan, which will be leading the team on improving the clarity and fairness around cryptocurrencies and their markets. Non-uniform regulations also result in market manipulation and inflation, and stopping digital assets from reaching their wider adoption. And as we get down here, didn't want to stop on me there. What's going on? Wants to just keep on scrolling by. They've already been a large number of concerns over the legitimacy and integrity of cryptocurrency markets, and this has prevented the digital assets from reaching full consumer and institutional adoption. I agree. There have also been a lot of doubts and regulatory questions surrounding the digital assets, and more awareness and transparency of market integrity is required. And that's a big part of what's causing this delay. Now, can you imagine where we would be today, looking at the world around you? What's happening with the banks? What's happening with the governments? What's happening with all of these financial institutions? Now, can you imagine what is the greatest assets that comes to mind that could help stop and prevent all of this and make all of this liquidity flow like a spring from a Colorado mountain down to the rivers? With that visual in mind, I mean, there's only the greatest asset ever that can provide this on-demand liquidity. Now, if we had regulations, what do you think the price would be? Do you think it would stay at 19 cents, 20 cents? I highly doubt it. I have to bring up again Susie from, I believe it was Australia, from Esoteric Solutions last year. She was saying the price of XRP should have been around $334 or so. And this year she was saying it should have been over $600. And this was before all of this collapse of the financial institutions even happened. Can you imagine its true value? Point of that is, if you're a new investor, forget about the current price. Know its value, know its connections. As I speak in this video tonight, it seems to be mostly focused on Stellar, but the point is if I do a video on Ripple, I'm finding Stellar and they're connected. Doing a video on Stellar, and I'm showing you that Ripple is still connected. Point being, they're going to be working together. As I continue to say, they will always be the Stellar, the Ripple, and the Ethereum. I do not hold Ethereum, so the reason I kind of leave it out, I include it for those of you who do, but I sold mine a few years ago and never kind of went back, because the way I look at it, I believe that the price, again, for the new guys, Ripple is XRP, Stellar is XLM, obviously Ethereum is what it is. But for me personally, even though I have come to re-establish and re-like and reconnect with XLM, do I think it will be successful? Absolutely. I think it will be massive. But do I feel it has a higher price? It's getting kind of interesting to see. But XRP and Ripple have been my favorite for many, many years. And I believe overall, because of its design with the institution, the enterprise, and the wholesale market and the derivatives, which it is focused on, the total end game pricing, I believe it has to be much higher. I don't know if it's going to be a gold to silver or a gold to gold or an ounce to a gram. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I know the SDRs since 1969 at the IMF are backed by 0.88 grams of gold. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here. But I mean, I do believe Ripple would have to, or XRP would have to have the higher price in the end game. We'll see where this goes, but history has shown that Stellar tends to be about 25% throughout the history of Ripple. I mean, even currently we're looking at 19-cent XRP and a 5-cent, or actually I think it's 6 cents Stellar at the current moment, or XLM. So, I mean, you're still sitting around the 25% mark as those fluctuate, basically from the 5 cent to the 20 cent. You're looking at 1/4. Okay, back into this little article here. The non-uniform regulations also result in market manipulation and inflation, stopping digital assets from reaching wider adoption. Just want to reiterate that before we move along. When we pull up the Blockchain Association members, as we just discussed, you're going to see a lot of familiar here, but again, we're going to keep it focused on our discussion. You can see the Coinbase there. You can see, actually, I'll bring up Kraken because initially he was part of the original Ripple executive team. Over to the right, you have Ripple here. Right nearly the middle, you have Polychain. And far all the way to the bottom left, you have Stellar Development Foundation. So there you can see right directly connected to the Blockchain Association. And I feel that the people connected with that are probably going to have a better chance at success out of the 5,000 cryptocurrencies currently available. I have always believed, the way Brad Garlinghouse does, that about 1% of those would succeed. So you're talking about 50 currencies. I mean, that's still a pretty big deal. Here I want to kind of highlight something. Again, just as a video, as an answer, do I think this is going to be a good percentage or a good solid chance for its success? Right underneath, built on Stellar. Stellar is open financial infrastructure. Anyone can access it. There's no permission or application needed. Companies as big as IBM, which we've explained at the beginning of the video, it's massive. 97% of all major banks are already partners of IBM. And Franklin Templeton and as small as single dev startups use Stellar for moving money and accessing new markets. The rest of the video, I just want to share a little bit on Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton to track money fund shares on Stellar blockchain. A multi-billion-dollar asset management company plans to use the Stellar blockchain for a new fund. Franklin Templeton Investments filed a preliminary prospectus with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Tuesday for a money market fund whose shares would be recorded on the Stellar network. The plan requires the SEC's approval. To be clear, the fund would not invest in any cryptocurrencies or crypto projects. Rather, the ownership of the fund's shares may be maintained and recorded solely on the Stellar network, the prospectus says. According to the prospectus, the money fund would seek a $1 per share net asset value, the NAV, with 99.5% of its investments in government securities, cash, and repurchase agreements, further backed by government securities or cash. Shares would be purchasable on the asset manager's online app, but not on the secondary market. Minimum purchases start at $20. The prospectus says Franklin Templeton believes blockchain-based shares provide transparency for shareholders, but warns they come with their own risk, including hacking and loss of funds. As such, the firm cautioned that its Stellar project is a test and the fund is liable to liquidation if decided upon by Franklin Templeton. With over $700 billion in assets under management, AUM, Franklin Templeton, based in San Mateo, California, ranks among the top 35 mutual fund managers. And now, as we get into Franklin Templeton brings money market fund to Stellar Lumens XLM chain. One of the world's largest asset managers, Franklin Templeton, has announced they will run a government debt fund that records the ownership of units in the fund on Stellar Lumens blockchain. The date of this article, or this, is September 3rd, 2019. It will utilize the immutable nature of distributed ledger technology to ensure ownership data cannot be altered. And again, you have Franklin Templeton will maintain their ledger as well. So the record on the Stellar ledger is so that the public can verify share ownership in the scheme. And they have hinted that in the future, they may shift record keeping solely to the Stellar Lumens blockchain. Franklin Templeton plans mutual fund tokenized on Stellar blockchain. I know some of these are repetitive, but there's slightly different information I wanted to share in each of these little articles. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay, we discussed that they will be solely on the Stellar. Meanwhile, Franklin Templeton will be responsible for the transaction fees denominated in Stellar Lumens for using the Stellar network that simplifies the usability for investors. And again, the Franklin Templeton, the investment firm, these kind of fluctuate. They keep saying 700, 800 billion. And either which way, that's very massive. Let's see. Franklin Templeton, again, to tokenize a fund on Stellar, explained. And this one goes into it again. With over 700 billion worth of assets, now the firm is trying to receive regulatory approval to tokenize a new fund on the Stellar blockchain. And it's pretty much here again. It's the same thing. To help users manage their investments, Franklin Templeton also plans to create a mobile app to allow investors to purchase, monitor, and redeem their tokenized shares. And the app will be available in both the App Store and on Google Play. Franklin Templeton recently told The Block, "We believe that blockchain technologies have the possibility to knit traditional asset management products and services closer to transactional payments, a registered money market fund that is backed by hard assets and registered with the SEC under the Investment Company Act of 1940, with its shares existing as native digital assets on a blockchain and held in a digital wallet, can be an ideal stable digital asset to be used in the new economy." And then an increasing number of traditional financial securities firms are entering the digital asset realm. And out of a concern for regulatory compliance, most are entering through security tokens. And differing from ICOs, the security token offering STO explicitly declares itself a securities offering and therefore must abide by its jurisdiction appropriate securities laws. So far, the nascent security token industry has raised nearly $1 billion USD through assets to include equity, real estate, investment funds, and fine art. And here, Franklin Templeton, I just want to reiterate one part here, proposes tokenized government money to market fund on the Stellar network. The fund will invest at least 99.5% of its assets under management in government securities, cash, and repurchase agreements that are fully collateralized by government securities or cash. The filing also notes that the fund will not invest in cryptocurrencies, but still going onto the Stellar blockchain. That is massive. One thing I want to share here too, this is the actual SEC for Stellar. Stellar is mentioned 42 times in this article on the sec.gov, directly from the government site. Users of the Stellar network must pay transaction fees of Stellar Lumens, digital asset operations Stellar, on the Stellar network, Stellar Ledger. I mean, it goes on. Literally, it's mentioned 42 times on the SEC and the Stellar network, including the regulatory, operational, and technological risk associated with distributed ledger technology and the Stellar network. Goes on and on. Literally 42 times. Stellar network, you have Stellar network, you have Stellar network. I mean, it goes on. Again, guys, this will be included in the description below if you're interested in this very long article. We'll just keep bouncing through while I'm talking. You feel free to go through all that if that's something that really excites you, through all of the government pages. So it's pretty exciting. So I hope I answered your question, kind of turned this into a video to reply to you. I know it was a little bit long, but it was a little bit easier with so many new people. And then it's something you can rewatch again. You can click on the video if you're interested in the articles and check the links in the description below. All right, guys, this one wore me out a little bit exhausted after getting through that one. But again, guys, I do believe that Ripple and Stellar are going to be, you know, whether they are legitimately a team and friends or not, it's to be seen in the future. But when you look around at the new financial system that is being implemented and is about to be released and go live, these guys are everywhere together. And again, it shows again and again and again, even stated by these CEOs, that they are in different lanes and are not competition. It's almost like they work together as a team, though not a team. Not financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only, guys. Much love to all of you, and I'll catch you in the next one.